Hi, welcome to Mr. B Philosophy. I hope you're having a good day. If you're here, it's probably because you're tired of reading 500-page philosophy texts that take 3 chapters just to define the word "the." My goal's simple. We're going to deep dive into the biggest, weirdest, and some of the most critical ideas in philosophy and RS. We're going to do it in 8 minutes-ish. No fluff. No weird Victorian headmaster vibes, no cringy memes, just the deep logic you need for understanding this. And I'll try to sprinkle in some extra knowledge that could make you look like a genius. So let's get into this. You've had it happen. You look at your phone, it says 11:11, and for a split second, you feel like the universe is aligned. You believe it's 11:11. It is 11:11. You're justified in believing it, because your phone's literally synced to a global network of atomic clocks. But imagine your phone actually crashed at 11:11 last night. It's been bricked for 12 hours, which is why you got no notifications. You just happened to look at it at the exact second where the frozen screen matched the actual time in the real world. Technically, you're right, but we both know that's a glitch. You didn't know the time. You just guessed the time and the universe had your back. In philosophy, this is the final boss of epistemology. It's proof you can do everything right. You can have evidence, facts, and true beliefs, and you can still be a total fraud. Today, we're looking at the Gettier Problem. We're going to see why a 2,000-year-old definition of knowledge got ratioed by a 3-page paper by some dude in the 60s. First, the tripartite view, the OG definition. For centuries, philosophers from Plato onwards thought they had a no-skip definition of knowledge. They called it the tripartite view, tripartite meaning 3 parts. Essentially, knowledge is justified true belief, or JTB. Think of this like a 3-level verification process. 1 is belief. You have to actually think it's true. You can't know your exam's on Tuesday if you're out here telling everyone it's on Wednesday. 2, truth. The world has to actually agree with you. You can't know the moon is made of cheese, because it isn't. Truth is an external requirement. And the 3rd one is justification. This is about bringing receipts. You can't just vibe the answer to multiple choice questions. You need reasons. Data, reliable memories, or even a source. And for 2,400 years, this was the gold standard. If you had JTB, you were verified. And then in 1963, some dude called Edmund Gettier showed up and basically just flipped it all on its head. Gettier's paper was a 3-page mic drop. He gave us a scenario that broke a system that had stood in place for millennia. Enter Smith and Jones. Smith is pretty convinced that Jones is going to get the promotion that's coming up. Why? Because a CEO told him so. Smith also knows that Jones has 10 coins in her pocket. I don't know why. We'll get there some other time. Smith forms a logical conclusion. The man who gets the job will have 10 coins in his pocket. In my image, Jones is a woman. So let's say the woman who gets the job will have 10 coins in her pocket. This is justified, because the CEO said so. And it's a belief. Smith really thinks it is. Now, there's a plot twist here. The CEO ends up hiring Smith instead. And through pure main character energy, Smith happens to have 10 coins in his pocket they had totally forgotten about. Probably because that suit is super tight. So Smith's belief turned out to be true. He did believe it, and it turned out it was justified by the CEO. But did Smith actually have knowledge here? Well, no. He was right, but for the wrong reasons. His justification was attached to Jones, but the truth was attached to him. They were uncoupled. This is called epistemic luck, and it proves that JTB has some problems here with being the final definition of knowledge. So JTB has problems. How do we patch them? Well, the first big software update here is called No False Lemmas, sometimes written as JTB plus N. Now, before you ask, no, a lemma is not a tiny suicidal rodent from a 90s video game. That's a lemming. And it's definitely not a lemur, which is a boggly-eyed primate from Madagascar. In philosophy, lemma's from ancient Greek, and it basically means an assumption. It's like a little conclusion you reach on the way to a bigger belief. Think of it like this bridge made of stone pillars. The final belief is the platform at the end, and the lemmas are the pillars in the middle holding it up. In Smith and Jones's case, Smith's bridge had a pillar that said Jones is going to get the job. But since Jones didn't get the job, that pillar was crumbly. It was what we call a false lemma. The JTB plus N fix says you only have knowledge if every single pillar in your logic is solid and true. You have no false lemmas. Update 2 is the big one. This is called reliabilism. Now this was a total vibe shift, because it throws justification in the bin. Reliabilists argue that we're basically biological machines. We don't need to give a speech on why we believe something, we just need our brains to work correctly. Imagine it like a thermometer. A thermometer doesn't have reasons, but it knows the temperature because it's a reliable process. If your belief comes from a reliable source, like your eyesight or a news outlet verified one, then it is knowledge. This fixes animal knowledge. A cat knows there's a mouse in the grass somewhere. My dachshund knows he doesn't like snow. He can't explain why, but his instincts are a pretty reliable process. But there's a catch. Even this has a glitch. Imagine you're driving through fake Barn County, a movie set filled with 2D wooden cutouts. You see one and you think, hey, a barn. Now through pure luck, you happen to look at the one real barn on the whole set. Your eyes are reliable, but you still got it right by luck. Even with the reliability patch, philosophy somehow finds a way to keep us guessing. Now, in 2026, we live in a world of AI hallucinations and deepfakes. If you believe a headline just because it's trending, but the trend started by a bot, even if the headline's true, you don't know it, you're just a passenger on a lucky glitch. Now, why do we care? Well, most people won't and they'll get by. But actually, if you really want to claim knowledge and you're thinking philosophically, it does matter. Now, if you're not interested in A-level stuff, this is probably a good point to jump off after you've hopefully clicked and subscribed. But if you are interested in A-level stuff, let's dig in a little here. Examiners love to ask about whether JTB is sufficient. Now, it is necessary, but it isn't sufficient. You need the N or the R for reliability to truly bridge that gap. So, next time, we're going to have a look at innate ideas. Are you born with the concept of God pre-installed, or is your brain just a blank slate waiting to experience the world? If I've helped you today, hit like so the algorithm knows that I'm reliable. I'll see you in the next one. I've been Mr. B's Philosophy. Have a lovely day and look after each other. It's a tough world out there.